Hi, everyone. Welcome to Butterlegs. It's the most entertaining movie podcast you're listening to right now. We don't always get things right, but we're real good triers. I'm Jay.
And I'm Sin.
I'm Alex.
I feel like this week was like on Rudolph talking about the winter storm.
At the first with like the newspaper headlines?
Yeah. I feel like this week was like that for like much of the U.S. It was real snowy and terrible everywhere, and no one could go anywhere, and everyone was snowed in. And I think we're now like almost a week out of it, and Texas is still out of power for a large part of it.
Yeah.
It sucks for them.
Yeah, I did see today that Texas is still largely out of power, and Ted Cruz went to Cancun.
Yeah.
He's like, well, good luck, everybody.
I was trying to be a good dad.
Yeah, that's what he said. Didn't want to be a good senator, but...
Or a person.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be a good person.
So this week, if you've been following along, you might have expected us to be talking about episode 7 today. You're wrong.
You would be very wrong, and I wish you were right. I wish you were right, but you're wrong.
There's very important movies.
No.
Very important movies.
You're in luck.
Boy, do I envy you.
I envy you because you don't have to be sitting here talking about what we're about to talk about. I wish I was in your shoes.
We watched the double feature of Ewok Adventure, Caravan of Courage, and second movie, Battle of Endor. No, sorry, Battle for Endor.
They're really good.
They are.
They're basically my favorite movies, and they're so important to the Star Wars plot.
So I want to go back to... Jay and I had another podcast, which has since gone away, and we started watching movies in like sequential order, and we were going to watch all the Star Wars movies, and Alex joined us, and that's kind of how we started this journey. And one of the first episodes, and it might have been the first episode, we talked about our first memories of Star Wars. And Jay and Alex brought up the Ewok movie, which I had never heard of. And then we found out it was called Caravan of Courage. I didn't know at the time I would have to watch these movies by signing up to do this goddamn podcast. And now I'm very pissed about it.
So I want to make a quick note also here. So these movies, they're hard to find nowadays.
They're also hard to watch.
They were made for TV, and they're hard to find. And so chances are you out there, you probably have not watched them, which is totally fine. And I think it's something that we're going to keep in mind as we talk about it, and try not to have too much of like, oh, you remember that one part, and but it's more about us explaining how this has impacted us on a deeply emotional level and helped us grow as people. So yeah, it's hard to find. So I bought a copy off of eBay, DVD.
Tell them what really happened. That is not how it happened.
Okay.
Come on. I want everyone to feel the pain that we did about this shit.
Okay, so I at first just tried to Google it and see if there was any streaming service at all that I could find it, and couldn't find anything until we finally found one person who had uploaded Caravan of Courage. All three of us sat down and watched it together.
Yes, we did.
But the whole time, things just didn't seem right, and there were some things that I remembered from seeing it as a kid. I was like, that scene was longer. That scene was different. And after digging a little bit more, I had found that the person who had uploaded it to the internet, they had made a bunch of edits to it. So they had cut out a very big portion of the movie. They swapped around the order of the scenes. They
slowed down the entire movie, right?
Yeah, they slowed down the playback so that the kid voices would be lower pitched. And then we also noticed that they even put their own dang name in the credits of the movie, like right after directed by George Lucas. It was like uploaded by me. So we felt that wouldn't be fair. So I went on eBay. I found a DVD, And then I had to find a DVD player because we haven't had one in years. And I found one of my old computers could play it. And we watched it together.
It was a little bit better. if that's something. The second time around, I guess.
It was awesome.
It was very awesome. So, yeah, not only did we get to watch Caravan of Courage again, but we also watched Battle for Endor. And that was one I had never seen before, ever.
I want you to retract that statement. We did not get to watch Caravan of Courage. We had to watch Caravan of Courage twice.
We had a beautiful family moment.
Mm-hmm.
A trip down memory lane. Even though you had no memories of the movie.
Yeah.
So we're doing the usual thing of watching the movie, and we've got snacks. And I made a big bowl of snacks, and we have that really good popcorn that's got like caramel.
It's a salty sweet. It's a salty sweet.
And
popcorn.
Yeah, and I also put in some like pieces of frosted shredded wheat in there. So I was like, that stuff's good.
No.
Sin.
Put it in with popcorn?
Right. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. At night, Jay will kind of start stomping around the house, and he gets kind of hungry, and he won't fix a proper snack. So he goes and he grabs a box of cereal, and he'll just eat handfuls of whatever is in the box, right? So he has now thought the rest of humanity views this as snack. It is not snack. It is cereal, which requires milk. It shows it on the front of the fucking package that's how you're supposed to eat the shit. Nope.
Just a handful of dry cereal. It's real good.
Remember on Angry Beavers that was an old cartoon?
I know exactly where you're going.
They declared everybody who eats dry cereal a heathen.
I agree.
What are you, a heathen?
Okay, and here's the thing too, like, it's not only that's not the way you eat cereal. It was shredded wheat. It wasn't like it was some yum Cocoa Pebbles or some Apple Jacks. We're talking like hay bales of fucking shredded wheat with a little bit of sugar on top. Anyway, so I'm like I'm like all excited. It's dark. We're watching the movie. I'm like, popcorn. I pick up that hay bale and shove it in my mouth, and I was just like, I was real sad. And it was real dry.
She crunched on it real slow. She's like, oh no.
So then I picked around it like a finicky little kitty cat and left all the hay bales for him. Anyway, that is not how you eat cereal.
A bundle of pine needles.
Yeah. Oh, that is exactly what it tastes like. A bundle of pine needles. Anyway, so I had to like smack my way through this damn movie with some hay bales in my mouth.
Let's get into the movie. Caravan of Courage, Ewok Adventure, released in 1984, written by George Lucas and directed by John Cordy. And I want to note that if it feels like we're skipping around in the movie and stuff, know that this movie is like kind of weird and disjointed, and also like we're not going over every part. So
Yeah.
yeah, it opens with Burl Ives doing the narration.
For you kids that don't know, Burl Ives sang many popular Christmas tunes, and he was the snowman on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which a lot of people have seen.
Yeah, and was heavily quoted in one of our recent Star Wars episodes where he did not appear. And so whenever this movie comes on and I hear his voice, I about fell out of my chair because I was like, wait a second, that actually happened? Like, we were joking about Burl Ives like appearing in Empire Strikes Back, and he actually is in a Star Wars thing. Like, I had no idea. It was wild.
I figured he had probably died the year after Rudolph the Reindeer, to be honest with you. I had no clue his age.
Yeah, so it opens up with Burl Ives, and man, these names, whoo! Jeremiah, not Jeremy, Jeremiah, Catherine, not Kathleen, look near the crash for their two children, Mace, which is a normal Star Wars name, And Cindel. I don't know what that is, but it's Cindel, like Cinderella or something. I'm not real sure. Who left the crash site.
Yeah, and then Jeremy and Catherine, they get chased down by a giant who we find out is called the Gorax.
And we see that an Ewok who's out looking for his missing sons on a hang glider sees all this happening in the forest.
Yeah, if anything, this movie is worth it just to see an Ewok hang gliding.
I agree.
It's actually done really well.
It's the best part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I want someone to burrow lives us into how they come upon Cindel and how they take them all back to the Ewok village.
Deej the Ewok was hang gliding to find his children, and he sees a shiny object down in the forest.
That's pretty good burrow lives there, Alex. What about you, Jay? Can you burrow lives us into the next scene?
Deej finds his sons, and on the way back home, they investigate the crash site, and they find Cindel.
Okay, now I want us to play part of the real burrow lives to see how bad those impressions are.
In an Ewok village on the moon of Endor, Deej tries to summon two of his sons who went into the woods and have not returned. He fears they may be lost.
So the Ewoks find the spaceship.
They find the spaceship.
And they're investigating it. Like, two of them go in, and one of them's a lookout, and they find the little girl, Cindel, first. Mm-hmm. She's like hiding in a closet or something.
Yeah.
And then Mace comes in. Just he's the little shithead of a boy who just instant aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they want to be our friends.
Get your hands over now! That's it, mutt face!
Yeah. Very, very violent, just immediately.
It kind of stays that way until about the last quarter of the movie.
Yeah, he's pretty terrible.
Yeah, so the Ewoks tie up Mace and bring him back to the Ewok village.
Little reminder from what we know of Return of the Jedi, they had planned on eating Mace.
That's right.
Probably would have been a good move.
Yeah, because we think that maybe this happened after Return of the Jedi, but I was reading a little bit about it, and there's a lot of, I guess, there's some people who've studied this movie, and they think that these are fairy tales taking place in the Star Wars universe. They're not part of the science fiction lore. They're fairy tales within a science fiction setting.
You know, I do kind of like that because it's kind of a cheating way to like explain some of the stuff that doesn't make sense with the rest of Star Wars.
Well, they say that, like, because fairy tales, the reason why there's something about the way the fairy tale, because it's like in like sci-fi or like, well, just any movie, it's like any sort of like adventure movie like that. It's like society is a certain way and it's challenged and it's disputed. I mean, that's what happens in Star Wars, right? Like, you know, the Empire's taking over and they have to challenge it and, you know, have adversity to conquer it. And so, but in like a fairy tale, there's kind of like this utopia, and like no one's threatening the Ewoks' utopia. There's just this thing happening, and then they get over it and they go back to like singing and dancing in their little like houses. So yeah, that's why they really think it's more of a fairy tale instead of another movie within the universe.
Yeah, I could see that.
So yeah, Cindel's sick. Can we talk about how good of an actress she is? She's real good.
Absolutely.
I would argue she is none good.
Yeah, she is pretty bad. And we took notice that all the Ewoks in here are like obviously really good actors, and even like, you know, Warwick Davis, it was a kid in this movie playing Wicket. Yeah. And he's very good. Like, he is like animated, and you know, he has to make all those, like, he's a kid who took direction enough to know, like, okay, you're playing this other species, it kind of has these like qualities, and he can do it. And then there's this little girl with like, she just stands and stares, and obviously someone off camera is going, line, and she'll just say, I'm sick. It's just real bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and no movement to it at all. Like you said, Wicked's so great because you could tell like he's real curious and tilts his head and flaps his arms when he runs around and stuff. It's adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're all kids, so I mean Mace is the oldest one, and he's pretty bad too, but not as bad as Sindel. But yeah, so Sindel's sick, and they give her some medicine, but they run out, so then they have to go find some more, and they go on a little mini adventure to look for a special tree with the medicine. So yeah, the Ewoks have taken these people into their home. They have brought Sindel back to health. And then Mace and Sindel decide the Ewoks are terrible, and they escape in the middle of the night from their homes and traipse off into the forest trying to find their parents, I guess.
Yeah, it's real unclear why they have to sneak out in the middle of the night. They're not prisoners.
Yeah, because Ewoks have been nothing but nice at this point. They've saved that girl's life.
Yeah.
And Mace is like, let's ditch this joint.
And then we get our first kind of glimpse into some of the cool like stop motion stuff because they get chased by this pig bear monster. So there's some practical effects here with like a paw going into the hollow tree trying to get them, sort of like Land of the Lost style with the dinosaurs. And then there's also some like stop motion going on, which was some what is the name of that company?
Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah, Electric Light Orchestra. What is it called?
Industrial Light and Magic?
Yeah, Industrial Light and Magic. So they did some of these scenes, but what I read was that stop motion was kind of dying as a technology, and go motion was the new thing. But it was too expensive, and so they went with the stop motion. But I actually don't mind it. It's fun, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's real Clash of the Titans, and I love that.
So the Ewoks, they save the kids, and they kill the pig monster. One of the parents' like bracelets, life monitor, as they call it, was on the pig monster thing, giving them a clue that whoever controls the pig monster, that's probably where the parents are. Mm-hmm. So whenever they find out that they need to go to see the Gorax, they see it in this weird spinning top that shows them an image of the Gorax. And one of Mace's best lines is right here.
It looks like the monster is something real big. Where is it? Where is it?
It looks like a monster or something really big.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was ad-libbing there. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to show George Lucas I'm good." Yeah. And they were like, "Keep rolling."
So also, this movie is, like we said, it was made for TV, and so many of the scenes have a little fade to black where there's obvious commercial breaks. I thought it would be fun to take a little peek and see some of the commercials that you may have seen in the commercial break. So this first one isn't too like crazy or anything. It's just very appropriate.
Burger King presents Return of the Jedi Glasses. 4 new glasses from the Star Wars saga, filled with the adventures of Luke Skywalker, the Ewoks, Han Solo,
Collector's items,
and Jabba the Hutt. Buy a medium or large Coke, and a different glass is yours each week for a special price. Collect all 4. Return of the Jedi Glasses.
It's got that big Burger King logo on top of the Millennium Falcon. Like, you think that's fine now? No.
Yeah. So, did you ever see any of these glasses? Have any of you seen?
Oh, I don't know that I've seen Return of the Jedi ones, but all through my life in our cabinet we had. Do you know about how they're made?
No.
They're they're screen printed glasses, and so they have little dots of ink, like you can feel they're tactile. And so we always had Batman and Robin, Wonder Woman. So we had all the Super Friends because the Super Friends were a cartoon then. But I don't remember us having any Return of the Jedi ones.
Okay.
Yeah. But we had I can't remember some of the other things, but yeah, and they were actual glass, and like that was a thing. Like everywhere, everyone did promotions. It was glass that were screen printed with this little dots of ink.
Wow. Can you imagine Burger King giving out anything made of glass? No.
Yeah, it's
Seems
really
so
weird.
Have you looked up the price of those on eBay?
I
if
did.
Anyone has them?
Yeah. And it's not crazy high, but like I saw anywhere from $20 to $50 per glass.
Wow.
So, all right, let's watch another here. This is a cornflakes commercial, and I put this one in.
Why isn't it a shredded wheat commercial?
I didn't find one, but I put this one in because there seemed to be a thing with commercials of this area that everybody felt like they had to have a song, a jingle to their product.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
If you're pouring Kellogg's cornflakes, you'll earn the special place on the front of America's favorite cereal. Sit down to a familiar face, the face of a Kellogg cornflake lover, the face of America too. When you sit down to America's favorite cereal, the face on the package is you, and it's gonna be a great day.
That's Mickey Rooney.
The end of the commercial, and we're gonna say a line that doesn't rhyme. What the hell? I don't remember that commercial at all.
That was Mickey Rooney at the end.
Yeah, I think it was. Let's listen to the last lines again of that song because they're real good.
When you sit down to America's favorite cereal, the face on the package is you, and it's gonna be a great day.
What?
This one's for wheat rounds.
For what? What?
Wheat rounds.
Nabisco has a new kind of cracker. Round's the perfect in-between snacker.
Pass it round.
So crisp and rich that everyone will want it.
Pass it round.
Put any kind of tasty topping on it.
Pass it round.
There are 4 Nabisco rounds for you to choose.
Pass it round.
It's our latest, most delicious cracker news.
Pass it round. Nabisco.
That one is ridiculous. Like, that's so crazy. What?
Love that.
Holy shit. Oh my God. Holy shit.
Pass it round.
We've got 4 new flavors.
Pass it round.
All right.
To the Basset Hound.
So we have 2 more commercials to round out our commercial break. First one here is for ColecoVision.
Oh my God.
And then we have a really great commercial for Windex.
If you own ColecoVision, you already own a powerful state-of-the-art computer that gives you the arcade experience with the newest arcade games like Donkey Kong Jr., Looping, Pepper 2, Time Pilot, Mr. Do, Space Fury, Frontline, arcade controls like Turbo, the Roller Controller, and new Super Action Sports. And soon, you'll plug in computer modules that'll blow your mind. It's simple. ColecoVision, the expandable video game system, is also the expandable home computer system, the only system you'll ever need.
Yes, the only system you'll ever need. Except for it died however many years later.
Yeah, it didn't.
Hold on, let's see when ColecoVision died. Hold on 1 second. Yes, ColecoVision, the only system you'll ever need, except for that we went under 2 years later in 1985. We discontinued our module. So my friend Kelly Jennings, I had an Atari and she had a ColecoVision, and I was so jealous because my Atari was dumb and had wood grain on it, and her ColecoVision was cool and it could play Mousetrap. It was so awesome.
And so it was like the board game Mousetrap, right? Or was it just
sort of
called that?
It was just called that because it's just that because ColecoVision, like, they had those curly Q springy cords to the controller, and like the controllers like had the balls and stuff on them. It was just like there was a lot going on with ColecoVision, and there was just with Atari it was like a stick on a pad, and it was like, Well, that's no fun. I don't know. It's like I would go home and play Pac-Man and Defender and be really sad, and then go to her house and I will say that the graphics in ColecoVision were better, like the games. Like they were a little bit more, at that time, a little bit more cool, but they went under in 1985.
Last commercial. This is for Windex.
Put on a Windex shine, spray sunshine.
All over
Now
the
there's a better
place.
way to clean greasy windows.
Better than Windex?
New improved Windex cuts grease better than any leading glass cleaner.
We'll dip this window in improved Windex. See? It cut right through the grease even before wiping.
New improved Windex really works. Beautiful. Spray sunshine all over the place. Put on a new Windex shine.
I remember that one.
You remember that one? Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. So where were we in the movie?
So the Ewoks have decided to help them find their parents, and they're making the journey across Endor, and the girl gets put on top of a camel, no, it was a horse with a big old horse hut in it. And Mace doesn't want to do it. He's like, I'm a big boy. I don't ride on a horse in a little horse hut. And the Ewok's like, whatever, I give up. And then cut scene, Mace is looking into a river and almost dies. Unfortunately, he's saved by a magic stick. Next scene, we're at the mountain. We're at the mountain. Oh, what do we do now? This is the mountain that they need to get in because apparently the Gorax is in there. That's the giant who has their parents, remember? And oh shit, Mace was supposed to keep a dumb rock that he kept griping about. And our boy Wicket, he's like, I got this. And he had picked up that rock after Mace had thrown it down in a little weenie tantrum that is like trademark of Mace. And then he shakes that dumb rock by his ear. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, no, he's like, what do I do with this stupid rock? It's just stupid. And then he shakes it and he's like, oh, there's something in it or something. And he throws it on the ground and it breaks. And there's a Native American arrowhead in there looking thing. It looks like a arrowhead. Mm-hmm. But anyhow,
it shows them the way in.
Yeah, it shows them the way in.
It shows them the way in. It goes underneath one of the mountain boulders, and Mace is like, oh, maybe I can shoot it with my gun. He's like, come on, gun, shoot. I know you have power. And sure enough, it does have enough power, and he explodes the rock with his laser beam.
And so, yeah, they get inside, and they go looking for the parents.
By the way, I just described like an hour's worth of material there.
That's right. Yes, you did. And that's why this audience is far luckier than we are. Because we had to sit through it all. So yeah, they come into the Gorax's chamber, and the first obstacle they come across is a giant spider web.
A playground.
Yeah, it's a jungle gym. Yeah, it's definitely a jungle gym rope climbing
playground
thing.
equipment.
Yeah.
They found this in the sporting goods department that morning before filming.
It's so bad.
Climb across a chasm. There's some really cool spiders that try to get them, but they fall down a hole. Unfortunately, basically on top of Wicket, and Wicket stabs them.
Yeah.
The party makes it up to the Gorax's lair, and you see the Gorax's nipple a lot.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
By the way, the Gorax also it looks a lot like Professor Bobo from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
It does. Yeah.
But I guess he's just saving these parents for later.
Yeah, it's unclear why he hadn't eaten the parents already. He was gnawing on bones.
Yeah, he's gnawing on bones. He keeps looking at the parents who are in this cage that has these huge holes in it that they could easily escape from, but they're trapped.
Yeah, they could have just got out.
I kind of love the ending though, because I'm not sure of the logic of the escape plan for the parents, because they have a rope. Is it Mace?
Yeah, Mace goes up there first.
They've seesawed Mace up into the cage. So now there's 3 people in the cage where there were 2. Then he throws down a rope and an Ewok climbs up into the cage. So now there are 4 people instead of 2 trying to escape from the monster.
Yeah.
And then they all have to climb down.
Yeah, and Mace is the first one down. It's like, why did
Totally could have just threw the rope up there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have totally just thrown the rope. Yeah, so they're battling with the monster. A lot of shit happens. The end. That's literally all that you have to know about this movie. That there's nothing. Nothing matters. Nothing matters in this movie. It just doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The Gorox dies.
He falls
They're
down
reunited with. They're reunited with their parents, and Mace and Sindel's dad's like talking to an Ewok. He's like,
You and I are some lucky dads.
Yeah, it's a really great line reading.
We are 2 very lucky fathers.
spoiler alert, that dad did not get hired for the next movie.
Yeah, so then how many years later? 1 year later, they said, you know what, that one was just so good, let's do another one. And I'll give them this one is better.
I really liked Battle for Endor.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I go that far. I won't watch it again, but it was easier to get through. There's some new characters in here, namely Jeremy. Is that his name? He actually is Paul Gleason from who was the assistant principal in the Breakfast Club. Richard Vernon, for all of you people who like to watch the Brat Pack movies, it's that guy. I think he does a better job, so I guess he was a better actor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we open up on Battle for Endor, and there's some bad monster guys, and they're attacking the Ewok village. And
what are those goblin guys on Lord of the Rings? What are they called?
Oh, like orcs?
Think orc Vikings that weren't done as well. That some of them have sweater pants on.
And what is the time frame here? Because I feel like they were trying to fix their ship from the end of Caravan of Courage, and then they got caught up in this battle. I don't think I think it's a really short period of time.
Yeah. I would say
maybe a week or so.
Yeah, maybe. It's right up to they're right up to each other.
Yeah, and so right away we see the woman from Dune shows up, and so that's Sean Phillips. She was also voice acted in World of Warcraft, but she was the Reverend Mother from Dune, the one that's put your hand in the box.
Put your right hand in the box.
What's in the box?
Pain.
Important plot point: Mace and Sindel's dad and Sindel's mom all die.
Real quickly.
Real quick, yeah.
And that's okay with us that Mace is no longer in the movie.
He's so bad.
He's so bad. Unfortunately, we're left with just Sindel, who's the worst actor of them all.
Mm-hmm. Let's have this debate real quick. Who's worse, Jake Lloyd or Sindel?
Oh.
Ooh, that's a tough one, because Sindel underacts, Jake Lloyd overacts.
This is tense! R2, get us off this autopilot. It's gonna get us both killed. You did it, R2!
Come on, Cinder, you gotta eat something.
I'm not hungry, I just feel bad. I don't feel so good.
I think audiences were annoyed by Jake Lloyd as well as all the other shit that was happening in that episode. Whereas, I don't know, there's not that silly shit going on in this movie.
Like you're saying, if you had to deal with Sindel and Jar Jar Binks, visual CGI, then it would be a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'd like to see them both in the same movie and compare them.
Yeah. She was a tiny bit better in this sequel, though, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not much.
I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would say that he knew how to do the act of acting better. He probably knew more about acting than she did. But his voice was just so annoying, and she doesn't have that for sure. Sindel and Wicket are taken prisoner, right? And they're in like a little, once again, like a little horse hut
with other Ewoks.
Yeah, with other Ewoks.
But they find a way out.
And Sindel laments. She's like, "My mom, my dad, Maze, they're dead." and Wicket had this little tender moment. He's like, "Oh, your family with Ewoks."
What happens to me now, Wicket? I'm all alone.
Not alone. Wicket, take care of Sindel.
My family.
Wicket, Sindel's family now. Ewok's family now.
That was real sweet.
Yeah, I mean, his acting it's still as good as it was in Return of the Jedi. It's so good. He's just unfortunately with this really terrible child actor.
Yeah, they escape from the prisoner transport and go into a cave where there's a pterodactyl and a hang glider.
That's the best. This is the best plot device ever.
I thought that time had passed a little bit, and he just used little odds and ends in there to make that hang glider.
Oh, that's like one night. It's
I don't understand. So there's a pterodactyl, a winged monster lives way up in this cave, and there's also a hang glider up there. Like, whose hang glider was that?
Yeah. It was the pterodactyls.
He's like, my arms are tired. I'm just going to use this today.
Yeah.
But yeah, luckily we do get to see Ewoks in hang gliders, but the scene in this movie compared to the first one is pretty bad. The green screening on this or whatever they used at that time, whoo, it's pretty rough.
Yeah. But it sure is enjoyable to watch little Sindel being dragged away by a pterodactyl and
with a really good eye. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Wicket saves her with the hang glider. And then whenever they're back down on the ground, Wicket and Sindel find another little creature who we find out is named Teak.
We find out its name is Gary Busey, the creature.
Yeah, Teak. Let me pull up Teak. Maybe we can describe Teak.
Well, I think we
Gary
did.
Busey.
I think we did. It's a very small Gary Busey in a little fur coat.
Yeah,
fast little ape guy.
It looks just like him. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's difficult to describe, so I just recommend Googling.
I'm doing it perfect.
Teak Battle for Endor. Alex over the video call is doing his Teak face. It's very good. Teak can move super fast like the Flash.
Yeah, and so he takes them to a house where his friend lives, who we find out is Mr. Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, and he's the first person I've ever seen to not say anything really overtly derogatory but sound racist.
All at the same time?
Yeah, he
can make any word sound racist.
In particular, in this movie, he many times says beggar. He calls people beggars.
Left and right. Everyone's a, you little beggar. And you're just like, you kind of stop for a second. You're like, did I? Okay, no. He said beggar. Huh. Wonder why. Okay, keep going. You little beggar. Wait, what? Excuse me?
Take all you want. But don't let me catch you giving none of them muffins to them little beggars outside. You hear me?
Hey! What's going on here? What's the matter? What is it? What are you talking about, you little beggar?
Sindel gone.
That could have been you little beggar. Run, you little bugger! Run!
Okay, now let's power up this old tin can.
It's a little troubling because it just catches you off guard. You're like, what am I listening to?
He does eventually befriend Sindel and Wicket and come
begrudgingly.
Yeah, begrudgingly.
I had a fan theory that I made while we were watching it that he is Mace. Mace never died. He got into some sort of time warp type thing, and he went into the future and got old, and then came back and met with Sindel, and he's just this grumpy old man now.
That would make sense. It would totally track with his demeanor. Let's talk about Sindel's bakery skills.
Yeah. So there's a scene where Sindel and Wicket, they go outside and they come back after a day or whatever, and they have like 2 little handfuls of flowers, these little red flowers, and they say, "Now we can make some pies."
Next scene,
there's like 8 pies, fully baked, like, 10-inch wide pies, all on the table that they had made from those 2 little handfuls of flour. It is absolutely astonishing. I'm very impressed.
Well, also, like, why is that scene even in the movie? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking about, there's this attack on the Ewok village. There's the pterodactyl. Gary Busey is this tiny character. Then there's this pie making. I mean, it sounds like we're making it up, and I swear to God we're not.
Yeah, it was kind of random. Sindel just kind of decided on behalf of herself and Wicket. They're like, we're going to abandon trying to find our Ewok friends, and we're going to live in this house.
Yeah, we're just going to live in this house now. This is what we do now. And the next note is about Sindel's song. And I'm just going to say this. We're going to put the whole damn thing in here, so you have to listen to it because I had to.
My star keeps me company and leads me through the night. My star watches over me and fills my dreams with light. Some things change, but something shines forever as they are. In the sky, shining high, my star.
So bad.
Remember when Gary Busey was stuffing muffins in a bag, and we didn't know that there was a bag in his lap, and it was kind of bad.
Well, what about all the times that Wilford Brimley was trying to give us a dick pic when he was getting out of bed?
Yeah, don't pause this movie at certain parts.
Oh my God.
He kept getting out of his bed in a nightshirt without pants on, legs facing camera. It was really disturbing.
So this movie, like I said, came out in 1985. So I found some more commercials that you may have seen while watching this movie. First up is Starburst, and I picked out this one because it just seemed like a bit much.
Starburst fruit juice, a burst of refreshing fruit flavor for you. Tastes like mouth-watering orange, scrumptious strawberry too. Luscious lemon, tangy cherry, sunshine flavors all strawberry too. Right into a Starburst fruit juice, a burst of refreshing fruit flavor for you.
Naturally and artificially flavored.
Man, that's one jingle.
Yeah, that was a great example of that 1980s. Like, we have to have a jingle for our product.
Mm-hmm.
And it really captured that one type of 80s flavor where they're like, everybody's on the beach and they're driving a Jeep on the beach and they're having fun and eating candy and
in bright colors.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is a commercial for Honda. And I picked this one out because this one had a really weird voiceover on it. And it's like, oh yeah, there were a lot of commercials back then where people just didn't know how to do voiceovers yet. They didn't realize that you could just talk like a normal-ass person.
Tim Hirschner of Cincinnati loves his Honda Civic wagon because he can fill it up with everything he needs to fill up his hot air balloon and still have room for the balloon. The Civic wagon. It's a lot bigger than it looks.
Still have room for the baboon. Why does it sound like he's being tickled the whole time? Like the whole time he's like, it's bigger on the step it on the inside. Step it.
The upward inflections, it's so weird. It adds syllables within syllables.
I felt like he was doing story time for a children's book, and it's for a car. It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Most adult men looked like Carl Sagan back in that year.
Yeah.
Here's a really great commercial for Red Lobster, and they've got a really great song as well.
Oh boy.
Red Lobster goes as far as the North Pacific, Alaska, and Maine for the best seafood. So you only have to go as far as Red Lobster.
There's never been a better time, never been a better place. Everybody's getting in the mood.
And after we catch the best, we make it even better. With everything from our mesquite grill that seals in natural juices to fresh oysters and clams at our oyster bar.
There's never been a better time, never been a better place. Everybody's getting in the mood.
From seafood salad to seafood pasta, our new menu has over 100 ways for you to get
that's
hooked.
good.
So when you go as far as we do to bring you the best seafood, no wonder the fish aren't the only ones biting.
There's never been a better time for seafood. Red Lobster for seafood.
Wait. Someone got paid. Back up. Someone got paid to write the words. Play that again.
There's never been a better time for seafood. Red Lobster for seafood.
Wait a second. Someone got paid to write, there's never been a better time for seafood. Red Lobster for seafood.
Yep.
Were they fired? Like after that, where they're like, hey, not the best line. Not very creative there, homie. Woo, that was rough.
They're like, you can't fire me. I wrote wheat rounds.
You know, wheat rounds. Holy moly. I do think that some of that footage in that commercial is still being used today for Red Lobster. Like the squeezing of the lemon on the scallops. I'm like, that looks real familiar.
And there is a quick clip of the dining room, and boy, I don't know how you could fit more white people into one dining room.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, I got one more for you. This would be a real good one to end it on because it's going to make you feel real uncomfortable. Not as much an actual commercial, but more like maybe a bumper for the channel they were going to show like some movies during a particular block. So here we go.
Journey to the mysterious world of the Far East. The wondrous and wicked world of the Kung Fu Masters, where honor is not taken lightly. Enter the Dragon's Den for a deadly display of fisty fireworks each week on Kung Fu Theater. Confucius say, person who watch Kung Fu Theater on USA Network is one smart cookie. At 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, tomorrow.
Used to be watched in my house all the time. What are you talking about? Yes.
Confucius say.
Yes. Watched in my home with my Asian father watching.
They got a fortune cookie graphic.
Yeah.
So whenever the guy says, one smart cookie, they actually have a fortune cookie show up on the screen.
So bad. But I totally watched it. Me and my brother totally watched that shit with my dad. Mm-hmm. We sure shit did. Oh my God. Thank you for the memories.
You're
and for
welcome.
making me feel real uncomfortable. Because it's super, super racist.
Back to Battle for Endor. Sindel is tricked by the witch, Charl, who is the person from Dune. Mm-hmm. And Sindel gets kidnapped, Sindel's taken to the fortress of Tarak, who is one of the orc-looking guys. He wants somebody to activate this power unit. It's the piece from the spaceship that actually Noah needs. And this Tarak fellow, he thinks it's like the key to all power in the universe. He thinks it's like more like a magic religious sort of thing.
I think it's the tube device you put your check in when you put it in for the bank that goes up that tube that goes. That's what I think that thing was that they used as a movie prop.
By the way, did we decide that this villain guy was speaking a different language sometimes, or was?
Oh yeah,
it's so hard to understand.
All I want is the power. Make it work!
Every time he spoke, it was really hard to tell because there were no subtitles on it. So it's like, is he speaking an alien language, or is the mask like not allowing him to speak well?
That's the troubling part, though. It wasn't like Jabba. This person is like, you kind of caught some English now and then, but not all the time. So it was really frustrating because I'm like, am I having a stroke? Why can't I understand what this person's saying?
And by the way, I know this movie sounds really bad, but it is much more watchable than the first one we described.
It's so true. It's so true. Like,
but talking about it just sounds real terrible. And it is terrible, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, I was real mad to have to watch both of them, but even me at the end of this movie, I was like, well, that one was better than the other one.
So Teak and Wicket and Noah is Wilford Brimley's character. They go to Tarak's fortress, and there's this really crowded room inside the fortress where all of the little orc people are hanging out and playing cards and stuff. And so Wicket and Teak and Noah, their plan,
that was great.
Wicket gets on the shoulders of Wilford Brimley, and they put a robe over them, and they just walk right through the room, and nobody says anything.
Total Little Rascal style, man. Total Little Rascal style. They're like, no one will notice.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, there should be a 9-foot tall Ewok right there.
That might have been the cutest thing in the movie.
They break out all of the Ewoks and Sindel from the jail. They get back. The orcs show up. There's a big battle. Eventually, it comes down to a one-on-one between Wilford Brimley and the big bad orc Tarak. And Tarak has this little magic ring that's hanging from his neck on a necklace. And Wicket throws a rock at it. It breaks it, and Tarak is turned to rock.
And by the way, the one-on-one with Tarak versus Wilford Brimley, we all really wanted Wilford Brimley to just like, wow.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he's a Jedi.
Yeah. That would have been
a real missed opportunity right there for him to pull out a lightsaber.
Nope, just swings his stick around.
And he falls over.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's pretty bad.
And then also kind of confusing is the end, because Noah and Sindel leave on the Star Cruiser. And like Noah and Teak, it's obvious they've been best friends for a long time, living together. And Teak, you don't see any other creatures that look like Teak. And yet Teak is staying behind. Why doesn't Teak go with Noah?
And why is Sindel with Noah? Like, she lost her family. Like, he's not her family. Like, granted, he's human, but like, he's a real old man. Like, what's he doing with this little... She should have stayed with Wicket.
Mm-hmm.
Wicket already decided they were family, and she seemed to agree with that.
I know. But that's it. That's in the movie.
But she's like, bye-bye, this is my new grandpa.
Oh, man, it is... Oh, those were hard to watch, and I don't wish it on anyone.
Do it. Oh, not yet.
Not yet.
I wish it on everybody.
I do, too. I think they're America's forgotten treasures.
I did read that Warwick Davis is petitioning, trying to get like 500,000 signatures or 5 million signatures or something like that, to have Disney Plus put these movies in the universe. Like, that's a current thing going on right now.
Wow.
So it may be coming to a streaming service near you very soon. Who knows?
last year I was reading that they were actually talking about doing an Ewok series on Disney Plus, which would be pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good.
I would be for that.
What was your favorite scene from either of the movies?
I thought it was kind of funny when that guy kept having his toe get stepped on. That's a little...
Yeah.
The monster?
Yeah, there's a part where they're battling in the fortress, right?
That's not my favorite part, but I just remembered that.
Yeah, me too. I like that too. One of the orc guys, his foot keeps getting stepped on. It is pretty funny.
He already hurt his toe somehow.
Everything's so minor in these movies. It's just like, well, my toe kind of hurts. I'm kind of high up in a cage, but the bars they're really far apart. I could climb down if I really wanted to. There's nothing of grave consequence.
I guess I'd have to say the hang gliding scene of the first movie was my favorite.
Yeah.
It was like the only scene they tried on really hard.
I think my favorite scene is from Battle for Endor. It's where Wicket is riding on Wilford Brimley's shoulders.
I think probably my favorite, if I had to choose one, part is in the first movie when they're showing the pig bear monster, this showing his head, because it always reminds me of Neverending Story. Like the way it's shot is pretty cool. My favorite fail is the spider web that gets they take down the spider web. So granted, this is literally from like a gym or like a playground store where they got like climbing ropes, and so they're perfectly gridded out, but decorated to look like a spider web. But when they cut it down, I guess the prop people didn't think like we should do the whole thing because it's all going to be seen when it falls from the ceiling. They only did from like what was in the frame. So when they cut it down, the playground equipment-ness of that net really, really, really shows as it's flying down. I like that.
Thank you so much for joining us and talking about these two movies. If you do get a chance, I highly recommend watching both of them, Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor.
Yeah, thanks everyone for spending your time with us. Be sure to check us out at ButterlegsPodcast.com and on Twitter at ButterlegsCast.
And please email us at hello@ButterlegsPodcast.com. We would love to hear your thoughts about the show, and if you'd like us to watch a certain movie in the future, let us know.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.